So we will start with a simple partner bow. Everybody. Hey, Kitty. She was looking at me. So a little bit of warming up first. So remember last time, one of the things as you prepare yourself to begin is to wake up your body, not just by energizing it, moving it around, but also by opening it. So not just like this, but like open all the places in your body where there's a space that maybe has kind of collapsed in when you're just sitting around or just relaxing or whatever. And so, you can start with the perimeter of your body where your hand could be flat or it could have a space, right? It has arches. Your feet also could be flat or they could be like this on the floor, right? And it's not just there as you work your way up your body, right? The inside of your elbow and the front of your shoulder and underneath your arm, these all could be spaces or could be not. So open them up. And on your legs, as you work your way up, first the feet, instead of flat, can be like whoop, okay, flat, whoop, like that. You can make the noise if you want. And then as you work your way up, you can feel it on the backs of your knees and on the inside of your leg, and then here in your groin and the fold of the groin also, right? So you can sort of bring some space to all of those places as you work your way up, right? Your waist area between your hips and your hips. Clearly there's a lot of space there that could happen. Work your way up. The window in the back of your neck where your spine meets your skull. And last, the crown of your head. So sort of check in with all those places, work your way along from the perimeter of your body all the way up to the top. Make sure everything's not just kind of anymore, right? We're martial artists. We don't just stand, we stand. At least sometimes. Hey, and then up, hey, and down. And up. And down. And up. So here, you're not trying to, sometimes sort of you stretch one side by crunching the other side. Like that's not the goal here, right? We're trying to open all of it. So as you reach up, emphasizing one side and extend it even more, be careful that this side doesn't crunch down, right? This side also stays open. Good. And then the other side, reach, 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 reach. Keep that line. Continue to keep it and breathe. Okay, and then rotating your chest to the floor, around. Again, try to keep a sensation of space in your abdomen. So there's a little more than usual between your hips and your ribs. And the other way. Not just because you're inhaling in, right? But because of the way you're holding yourself. Okay, so I wanted to, and so you sort of try to keep that feeling all the way through practice, if you can, and if possible, continue to keep it as you walk around during your day. Quick recap instead, right? So the question that came up yesterday had to do with sort of the mechanics of the walk. Last time right, so we're martial artists. We don't just, when we stand, we don't just stand, we stand sometimes. And when we walk, We don't necessarily, just walk around. We walk like with purpose and with engagement. So there were sort of two elements that we mentioned, sort of worked on last time. And they both involved ways to use the mechanics of the lower half of your body in such a way that it kept your upper half of your body relaxed and free and available to do anything at all that might be necessary, whether it's weapons work or just or striking or receiving or just the flexibility to look around in all directions without getting sucked into one single spot. And so one thing had to do with one element of that had to do with sort of reserving your center and maintaining your vertical axis and your balance here in one spot while making the stepping leg free to go wherever it needed to go without sort of overcommitting early and sort of lurching around, right? So the idea is you keep the biggest elements of your body here in one spot and just extend the leg with the foot at the end sort of feeling its way along. Remember the tiger, checking out the space and then transferring the weight. And we practice this from side to side. So you lower yourself a little bit, you sort of reach with the foot without committing your weight just yet. Just let your toes sort of skim the surface of the floor. And then switch. Okay. And we practice this side to side and also forward to back. When we did it front and back, in order to avoid sort of lurching, right? So sending the weight too early, you want to reserve the heavy part, your hip, reserve it here. So even as you lower yourself, you don't, and you reach with your leg, you don't reach with your hip too. Because then your weight goes maybe before you're ready, right? So you lower yourself, you keep your hip here. And when we practice, we sort of exaggerated that enough that you could see the hip actually coming back even as the foot was going forward. And again, that's to counterbalance until your foot has decided that's a good spot, and then go. Let's see if I can get my feet in here. So then run a line here, and then go. I've overdone it. Let's try this. So instead of totally straight, you use a little bit of this contra body motion. So I'm going to step with my right foot, actually reserve my right hip just a little bit so that I'm balancing the forward weight of my leg so that my axis remains back here until I'm ready to proceed forward. And then the same thing is true going backwards. The question had to do with, so when you do this, sort of there's a characteristic crease you can feel in the fold of this leg where it attaches to your hip. So the same thing happens if I were going back. So if I were going to step back with my left leg, which is the reverse of what we just did, right? I don't want to send my foot and my hip and everything. I'm going to lurch backward, same problem, and I lose my balance just a little bit, right? So I want to keep my hip here and send my foot. So as much as possible, keep my hip and my weight here and send my foot until I've decided that it's time. Not prematurely, not accidentally, not without checking out the scenario first. And this is very martial. So in Aikido, there's times when we want to proceed with center forward, center first. You remember, there's times when you're doing, say, Shonichi Ikkyo Omote, if you're the Nage, you want to proceed with your whole body. center first sometimes. Boom. But there's also times when you don't want to do that. You want to keep your center, let the thing go, and then proceed. Right? So you want to know the difference, and you want to be able to do it both ways comfortably without lurching around and losing your balance. Okay, the other element that we sort of discussed a little bit last time had to do with how to get extra length in your step. So if there's two pieces to that. One is no matter which way you're going, side to side, forward to back, when you reach your foot, there's how far it normally reaches, and then there's a little extra. You can sort of just slide in, like you're sliding in home base, right? So there's how far it normally reaches, and that's fine. Or there's how far it normally reaches, and then you can just sort of let it, your toe just sort of skim a little extra across the floor. Okay? And this is true forward and back. So here's how far I might normally reach, especially if I'm reserving my hip, right? And then a little extra. This, by the way, is part of the secret of a deeper rimi, right? So if you're wanting to do a deeper rimi or a deeper rimi tenkan, this little technique can help a lot. There's how far you normally rimi, right? Comfortably, even if you're trying to take a big step, and then there's a little extra. So those were the two elements last time, and in both cases we were trying really hard to keep our upper body completely out of the picture. So it was just, so our upper body was totally free. We practiced some Marabashi exercises with the sword. Which, by the way, if you don't have a sword handy and you want to practice that, if you get a plate, put a little bit of water on the plate. Right. This is a bowl, but whatever. If it's a plate, it's harder, more challenging. And then try to walk around without spilling the water from your plate. If you're lurching at all, the water will tell you. So that was last time. Today, I wanted to sort of pick up where we left off a little bit on the coiled spring idea, right? So there's and actually, Jane Sensei touched on it a little bit last night in the Hanmi change exercise. So she had us stand in Hanmi, I'm in left Hanmi. And you step up, so your feet are together. I can't get this right today. So step up, step back, right? This is your standard Hanmi change, like so. Changing Hanmi in the front. And you can do this in sort of a very relaxed manner, in which case all that's really happening is you're just moving your feet around. Nothing exciting, but we're martial artists. We can change Hanmi just by moving our feet around, or we can change Hanmi so that it's like, we can bring our attention and our intensity to the movement so that it's a useful way to access power and momentum, right? So you can just do this, right? Fine, who cares? I mean, I'm sure it's useful, but not as much as it could be, right? If you sort of dig a little deeper, you start to notice that it can be the source of generate rotational momentum in your body that you can then use and redirect. So last night, the example had to do with using a bokken, right? Let's see, we were using the step to swing. So you don't need a bokken right now. Maybe just use your hands. So now instead of keeping your upper body quiet, right, with your hands right here, the way we practiced last time, This time when you step, let that be the source of swinging motion for your hands and your arms. You can even exaggerate it, like, so when you step, like really step and swing your arms. Good. Excellent. So then the next piece then is to not just, so you see what I'm talking about, right? Just stepping, you can just step and keep your upper body quiet, or you can step and let that energy be transferred into your upper body, and then focused by your intention into a coherent cut or swing or strike or what have you. And that's the part I wanted to look at today. So first, so let's back up just a touch. Just stand with your feet square to the front and rotate. So you can, again, letting your arms swing. And you can let your feet move. They don't have to stay fixed to the floor. That would be bad for your knees, probably. Okay, just easy. Okay, now do fix your feet to the floor. Keep your feet and your knees and your hips all aligned forward, but still swing your arms. And I don't mean move your arms around, right? I mean, do something here that makes your arms swing. Excellent, you guys are awesome. All right, next. So that's just random swinging. Now we're going to try to aim it. So when you do this, instead of just swinging your arms sideways, like we're just doing horizontal kind of right now, swing them up. And tap yourself, okay? Up, up. So try by the way that you move your core, send your arms up. Excellent. All right, back to center now. All right, now by the way that you move your core and send your arms down. Try for a rhythm. Try 2 in a row. Boom, boom. Okay, and now for combinations. Up and then down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. And then the other way. Down, up. Down, up. Down, up. And then you can make your own combination. And you'll notice, since we're sort of practicing this as an exercise, your hips and your knees probably are moving some, but it's not, right, you're not taking this whole step to do it. You're just doing it here. Okay, so this type of rotational energy then focused into a particular direction is what we're looking for. So we would like sticks now. So if you have a Jo handy, it would be helpful. It's okay if you're inside. We're not going to swing them wide. We're just going to mostly hold on to it. I'm just in my living room and I'm holding both ends, so I have this much space, right? So let's go back to the Hanmi change. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys. So there's a thing that happens here with your hands. So just try this real quick. Make sure everybody's okay with this. So right now I have my hands on the bottom on both sides, right? So your hands should know where your jaw is without, having to look. So your hands should always be able to sort of find the end, right? And you should be able to go around the end. So I don't mean, some finger thing like this. That's bad, generally speaking. Usually this is the please sprain my finger position, right? But around the end, like that. So your hands should be able to sort of find the ends of your jaw and then switch. So like say you have one hand up and one hand down, you should be able to switch. And it should do it enough that it feels comfortable and not like this weird thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And try not to have a lot of collateral movement for no reason. Yeah, that's it. So just kind of right here. If sometimes this practice makes people's energy start coming up into their shoulders. If that's you, check and put it back down again. Okay, good. All right, and then back to the exercise. So Hanmi switch. So as you switch, so start just kind of in the middle, and then as you switch Hanmi, let the back end will come forward and let it extend out. So that finishes like a ski. Then draw it back, switch Hanmi, ski. Right, so if I were in a very narrow hallway, hopefully I would still be okay. I wouldn't be, like taking out all the furniture on one side and then all the furniture on the other side. That's a different technique. So this is more right here. And then I switch, and the ski goes, and the jaw goes forward. And I switch, and the jaw goes forward. Now, if you're in a narrow hallway, in a really narrow space, depending on where you are, right? Again, we're martial artists, and Aikido in particular, we're always saying we have, this wonderful awareness in all directions, not just for randori. Okay. So if I'm let's do it like this. So if I'm in a narrow space, or if there's people here that I would like to protect rather than people I would like to take out, I just can't do that, right? Or that'd be terrible. So if I don't have room to go sideways, you can change the angle. So I'm still doing my Hanmi change, but instead of totally sideways, like totally horizontal, right? So I change the angle so that I don't hit my chair ukes. Okay. Boom, change Hanmi, ski. Change Hanmi, ski. Right? And it doesn't have to be it could be the low end coming forward, like so, or it could be the high end coming forward. Right, so switch, ski. Switch Hanmi, ski. And so it can be horizontal, sort of waist height, or it could be low and forward, or high and forward. But whichever way you do it, it's easy to get distracted by the fact, the striking and avoiding the furniture. But also remember, you're at the center of it. You're the one that's channeling this rotational energy. So in every case, like whether it's low or middle or high, make sure the rotation is around you. Oh, Mensky. Okay? So the jaw rotates with you. Like in my case, it's actually touching my body a lot of the time, like touching. So as I rotate, it actually sort of rolls to the other side of my body as my body turns. See this? There's actually an exercise. Here, try this. This is kind of a fun one. So say you're holding the jo in the middle. You've got it. This is the jo version of when we're swinging our arms. So just keep your feet square to the front, and your hips and knees also square to the front. And you're holding the jo in the middle. And you're gonna sort of wind up just a little bit, roll the jo across the front of your body, switch hands, and end up on the other side. Right. So at first, and then go back. So at first when you do this, there's a space, right? Right. So the jo is actually not touching my body. I'm just handing it from arm to arm, and I'm going. So, but as you sort of get the coordination down, so you can sort of feed it from one hand to the other without trying hard. The other thing is to take it out of your hands and put it into your body, right? Like the same way we don't want to be doing this with our hands, we want to be doing it with our body. Here too. So this time, sort of keep it sort of touching your body a little bit. So mine's touching my rib cage a little bit. And I'm actually letting this roll, it's touching across the front of my body and feed it into my other hand. It's actually rolling across the front. So there's contact all along here. Once you have that, then you can start to, this movement that we were doing when we were sending our arms around, you can use that to roll your jo from one side to the other. So now my arms and my hands aren't really doing any of the work at all. They're just there to catch the jo on each side and make sure it doesn't go flying away. But this movement is what's primarily what's sending the jo around. I'm using my center, I would describe it as compression, my center compression to start the movement. Mm-hmm. And then I let the action of the jo moving dissipate the energy. So that by the time it's time for it to be received in my other hand, most of the energy has dissipated. So in answer to when I stop almost right away. It's like you, it's not like you keep it going the whole time, if there's this energy and you keep going the whole time. It's more like you send it at the beginning and then wait for it to arrive on the other side. You know, like when you make a cut with a sword, where's my book pen? When you make a cut with a sword, right, you don't send it the whole time. You know, you're not pushing it through the air the whole time. You send it, and it swings the rest of the way through, right? So you sort of start the process and then just keep it on track the rest of the time. Boom, boom. So you're not, pushing it the whole time. Of course not. It's Aikido Sensei is famous for, doing throwing the ball simulation, right? There's all this action at the beginning, and then the ball goes. In our case, we throw the ball and then we also, catch it because we're throwing it from one side of our body to the other. But yeah, when you throw it, it goes and then it shows up on the other side. Let's see here. You receive it and then you send it. You receive it and then you send it. So you don't start right away. When you catch it, you're receiving it and then you go. Receive it and go. Receive it and go. Let me see if I can do this slow. Maybe it'll show better. So send it, receive it, send it, receive it. So there's a masubi that happens here, where it transfers continuously. And then the exciting part is like getting your body motion to do the work for you. Okay, I hope it helps. Anyway, so I wanted to add one piece to our, so we were practicing to our exercise. So we were practicing this come around and ski, come around and ski, come around and ski. Okay. So, but you can also turn these into strikes. So like from where it is on your body, you can let it slide out as you go. So now it's more like a yokomen. And then as you step back and draw. So step forward, yokomen, you reach the furthest point, just like our exercise last night. And then as you step back, completing your hanmi change, your hand, you draw the jo too. Then your hands switch. And then step up, yokomen, step back, draw, your hands switch. Boom. 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 And of course, it doesn't just have to be yokomen. It could be do, more middle. It could be more ashi. Could even be shomen, 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 shomen. And then you can mix it up. So again, if I bring back my chair ukes, if you're in a room, there's probably furniture somewhere. And the furniture could be enemy ukes that you want to hit. Boom, boom. Or they could be bystanders that you would like to avoid. So in which case you need to work through in between them. Boom, boom, boom. So the furniture in your room can be a really good practice partner. So for example, I have this chair. I can go hit on the right, hit on the left, go between, hit the next one on the right, next one on the left. Now try to avoid them, go in between, then on the right, then on the left, then on the ashi. My chair has an ashi, turns out. Ashi, Shonen. Now avoid the chair, go in between, right? So if you have anything at all in your area that you can either hit or avoid hitting, it's kind of fun. Excellent. And then as we sort of think about making this a wider practice than just Saburi practice, last thing I would like to add for you, and I'm sorry we're going a little over, I hope that's okay. If you need to go, it's all right. And bring your attention back to your footwork just for a minute. So, so we've been basically using the Hanmi change in the front as our basic movement, right? Just this. And you may have already started doing this, but when you step up, you can step up straight to forward, or when you can step up, you can let your momentum carry you a little bit on an angle. Right? So instead of just stepping up straight to forward, you can step up and let it swing you a little. Now I'm facing to my left. And then same thing on both sides, right? So if you have your speaker, if you don't, the idea though is, see if I can get my whole body in here. So the idea here is as you step up, you can be facing forward, or you can use your step to change Hanmi and turn a little to the left. Now I'm 45 degrees to my left. Boom, boom, boom. I do it again. Now I turn more to my left. And then the same thing, as you step up with your left foot, you can rotate right. Right? So you can use this step not just to create the rotation that we were using to power our jo and our body movement, but also you can use it to adjust your angle. Boom. So when you're doing randori with the furniture in your house, it's super helpful because then you're not limited to always facing forward, right? Boom, boom, boom. Every time you step up is an opportunity to rotate a little extra. So then the exercise, whether you have furniture that you want to hit or not, goes like this. Right, so we're going to practice our Saburi movement, but we're going to do it in the context of multiple attackers. It's like, okay, if there's somebody right in front of us, we know what to do. Here. Here. So if there's somebody 90 degrees to your left, you see them there, you rotate your body and look, send your jo that way. Now, there's an attacker 90 degrees to your right. So as you step up with your left foot, you rotate this way. Boom. Now maybe 90 degrees to your right again. Look, go. And then switch it every time. So then you choose, but look, go. Then look, go. Then look, and so on. The more clearly you can designate the target that you're looking at, and more precisely you can aim at it, the more fruitful your practice will be, right? Because it's not just about swinging your stick around, right? You're developing your perception and your precise aim and your ability to rotate your body anywhere you choose it to go, exactly that much, right? And to bring your stick with you in real time. We're going to go ahead and bow out. Again, just a partner bow. I thank you all for training with me. And if you decide you want to have something after, we can do that. りがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Sensei.